In this lesson, we will talk about decoding interval shapes using the circle of fourths. An interval is the pitch distance between any two notes. There are 12 equidistant half-step intervals in a chromatic scale. The 12 intervals from root C are listed in the table below. It is easy to identify intervals on a single string. For example, to determine a minor third interval of 3 half steps, we simply count up 3 frets. Identifying intervals distributed across multiple strings, on the other hand, takes time and effort. In the absence of an alternative method, interval shapes shown as dots on a fret diagram are typically memorized. Given that a standard guitar is primarily tuned in fourths, the pattern of fourths is at the core of the NANDI method. When locating intervals, we will use the circle of fourths as a reference. Take note that notes on adjacent strings are a perfect fourth apart unless they are on the G, B strings, in which case the relationship is a major third. The first two numbers in our pattern are 1 and 4. 1 to 4 is naturally a perfect fourth interval. On a fret diagram, a fourth interval is represented as 2 adjacent dots. When a fourth lands on the B string, however, it is 1 fret higher. We can locate intervals adjacent to the root by using 4 as a reference point. On the quarter, the identified intervals below 4 are represented in red, while the intervals above 4 are indicated in green. Adding another fourth to the 1-4 pattern, we now have intervals 1, 4, flat 7. Take note that when we skip 4, we have a minor 7th interval between 1 and flat 7. On a fret diagram, a minor 7th interval is represented by 2 dots on the same fret separated by a string. A minor 7th that lands on or skips over the B string can be found 1 fret higher. We've marked intervals above and below flat 7, our reference point, on the quarter below. With the addition of a fourth, flat 3, our new pattern becomes 1, 4, flat 7, flat 3. If we exclude intervals 4 and flat 7, we can identify a minor third interval between 1 and flat 3. On a fret diagram, a minor third interval is represented as 2 dots separated by 2 strings. As we have to compensate for the major third tuning of the B string, a minor third interval on the A, B, and D, E strings will be 1 fret higher. Notice that we have identified intervals above and below our reference point flat 3 in the quarter below. With the flat 6 interval added, our new interval pattern is 1, 4, flat 7, flat 3, flat 6. The intervals displayed on the quarter have been identified using flat 6 as a reference point. After watching this lesson, we recommend practicing with our reusable NANDI quarter. The printed chart of fourths at the bottom, as well as the free cheat sheet, can serve as guides while you experiment with interval shapes. We also recommend our book, Guitar Intervals Unleashed, for a more in-depth look at guitar intervals. The supplemental workbook and namesake mobile app will help in reinforcing your understanding of the intervallic fretboard. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue to provide tutorials on visualizing the fretboard using the NANDI method. There you have it, decoding interval shapes using the circle of fourths.